Where Linda is at as a 5-year-old. We just think it's funny when she.
Morning.
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
It's going.
Greetings, everyone.
Hello, hello.
I cannot believe that Christmas is right around the corner.
Oh, I know it.
Doesn't it catch up with us every single year, especially this year?
Yes.
All right, gang, it is noon Eastern time, and we will go ahead and get started. We do not have a guest speaker today, so our meeting may be brief, but I wanted to provide an opportunity just for people to share some updates. I know we've got a few at KHSA. I know that Amanda will have a few from GOEC and the Head Start Collab office, and this is an opportunity for any of you to share ideas, share thoughts, observations, sort of how things are going. Right now, I know as everyone has shifted away from in-person through the 13th, not sure if we've had any updates, if things are going to be beyond that, but we can talk about that too. So a few updates from the association. We have our bylaws working group, I hope is going to be convening its last meeting tomorrow. We've done an awful lot of great work under the leadership of Cindy Graves and the other folks that are on that committee. A few of them are here with us today. But I think we've got a really good document. I think we've gotten to a place that makes a lot of sense. Many of the things that we had in our governance documents had been a bit antiquated, things that were challenging for the association in order for us to conduct our business. Things such as quorum, things such as nominating processes, things such as what does our executive committee and officer structure look like? What do our committees look like? So this group has done really great work, and they're looking forward to being able to share with you and the other members of the board of directors just what these changes are and come to you for your approval with them. So along those lines, they're going to have their last meeting tomorrow. Following that, we're going to be in a position to share their suggestions and recommendations and a clean draft of new bylaws and a governance structure with all of the membership. And the reason we need to do that in advance is because our next board meeting, and you'll get more information on this, but our next board meeting is going to be February 2nd, February the 2nd. We are hoping to convene that in person at the Lakeshore Learning Facility in Midway. As we heard a few weeks ago from our friends at Lakeshore, Alex and Patrick, they have built an entire second building. They've really made a big commitment, not only to Midway, but to Kentucky and to Head Start. And they've got a brand new facility, and part of that facility has been some classroom space. So they have developed an entire classroom and convention space that can be used. As I understand it, it's been used by a few groups thus far, but clearly COVID has gotten in the way of that. So our plan is to convene an in-person board of directors meeting on February the 2nd. Now, that being said, we don't know where we're going to be with regards to COVID, with regards to schools being in session, out of session, in person, not in person. We don't know what the world's going to look like then. So we're going to play it by ear. And we will also, for those of you that are either unable to attend or really not comfortable attending an in-person meeting, we will also have remote options so that you'll be able to join via Zoom just as you are today. So February 2nd, more information coming on that. A couple of other things I wanted to share with you. I'm going to share my screen real quick here. I wanted to share with you. Can everybody see my screen? Okay. So I've been playing around with our website. And so this is what our new website looks like. I'm still trying to figure out where I can put the logo. For some reason, this tool doesn't let me do that as well as I would like. That being said, I'm trying to introduce more functionality to this. Along those lines, I want to bring your attention to this right here, Head Start Jobs in Kentucky. Now, if you click on that, it's going to take you to our automated job board. So now, instead of us having to cut and paste and have it not look the way it needs to and not have the information that either you as a hiring manager or someone who's seeking a position, it just didn't look right, it didn't feel right. This is a true job board. And so people will be able to go in, they'll be able to click on it. These are just samples, and they'll be able to see the position, where it is, and for, who's it with, and any sort of description information that you as the hiring manager wish to share. When you click on apply for job, it's either going to send you to you as the contact, because you'll put your email in there, or it'll send you to a URL, a website. For instance, OVEC has a great website that has all of their jobs listed in a very automated system. So you would be able to visit OVEC if this were part of their system. So that's the first level of the job board. The second thing is posting a job. So this actually allows you or your HR department or your hiring manager to actually go in and post your position. And that will automatically go in. It'll automatically come to us as the association. We'll have to approve it because we don't want, crazy people jumping on there, putting crazy things on our website. But I didn't want to have it be such a way that you had to go through a very difficult registration process, creating paths, all that jazz. So you should be able to go in and post your job. We will approve it. And you can put all sorts of limits on there as far as timelines, as far as links, logo information. And again, once someone applies for the job, it will actually send them to your email where you can share more information with them, or it'll send you to the actual hiring website that you and your organization have. So we've played around with that a little bit in the past, but I'm glad we've been able to find a solution that actually does give us a real job board. I'll be sending more information about this out to all the Head Start directors. My hope is that you use it, that you use this as an opportunity to promote the jobs that you have, not just in your area, but all across Kentucky. I think we've sort of done it in fits and starts. We will get information from OVEC or Lake Cumberland or Audubon, and we will promote it on our existing website. We'll promote it on our social media. But I think this is a much better tool that you would really, I think, expect from a statewide association dealing with a very specific constituency such as Head Start. So more information on that, and I'm hopeful that you will all choose to use it. The other thing I would call your attention to is I hope people know these things, but we do have a Facebook page, all right, at Head Start KY. We do have a Twitter page at Head Start KY. So really all you need to know is at Head Start KY. Christy and others are really great users of this. There's a lot of information that we see from them that we're able to share, a lot of things that they can call to our attention, and then things that we find that we can share with the community. We also have the LinkedIn. We also have the YouTube. So I would encourage you to go check out the YouTube, which is kind of neat. We've got a lot of videos there. We've got a lot of the sessions that we have had. There's more information coming from our conference. We've got more conversations with Jay McCord, and we've got more trainings that are coming. So I would encourage folks to go check all of those things out if you have not done so already. And I simply share that because of the changes that I made to the website this morning. So really neat stuff in terms of the jobs. The next things that you'll see coming to the website, I think, are two. One, under the events category, you'll see more information about upcoming events, either with us statewide. There could be things that are happening as a grantee. For instance, if Martina is putting on a training and she wants to open that up to other programs, we can list things there. We can also list things regionally and nationally. The other thing that we're playing with, and it'll be somewhat similar to the jobs board, is providing some grant resources. So if we look at actual grants that are out there, whether it's government, philanthropic, regional, state, local, there are a lot of tools that are out there that we're able to aggregate. And I think we can actually put together a grants board where you would be able to go sort of that one-stop shop. And it's more of a curated list of things that would be useful to Head Start programs. So with that, we've got the bylaws, the job board. I have received one update from Family and Children's Place last week. They were able to share their compensation and benefits information. We're still at about a third of the programs across the state have shared that. I would encourage you to share it. The more programs that we have share that information, the more robust and complete our analysis can be. So with that, any questions? Okay, I am going to stop sharing, and I'm going to stop sharing always, and I'm going to kick it over to Amanda to provide some updates from GOEC and the Head Start Collab office.
You guys hear me okay?
There we go.
Great. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining as usual. I really don't have much. I was on vacation last week. We got our Christmas tree put up, if you can't see it in the background. So I don't have too much for the All In initiative, which is something that we've talked about a couple of times in the past. If you guys have been doing any work, the folks over at Protection and Permanency did reach out to see what's happening on the ground with the Head Starts. So if you have done anything, done any of the sharing of some of those resources that have been put out, or been in contact with your Protection and Permanency folks locally, or know of someone, if you wouldn't mind sending something to your staff to ask. The Protection and Permanency folks have a request from their federal folks to get that information. So if you could just shoot me a couple of sentences about what's been happening, that would be really helpful. And I can get that over to them. For the GOEC, like I said, I've been back for about 3 hours now. So there's a lot of stuff going on. Today or this week, they're doing a lot of the PDG, forget what they're calling it, but it's a conference this week that folks are going to be participating in, which I will be a part of all week this week. And I think that's pretty much it for me right now, John.
Okay, very good. Thank you. And just so folks know, Amanda and I have gotten on a regular schedule now to actually be meeting once a week. And I actually think we're doing that on Fridays. So we'll be in a position to share some of that information collaboratively with folks each Monday. One thing I failed to mention, there has been a call for membership cards. I know that we have had membership cards in the past, membership certificates for KHSA. So we actually have created, I'm going to put it right, I don't know if you can see it or not. Yeah, it's a KHSA membership card. And, it's just got a little bit of information about the association on there, but more importantly, it's got a spot for your name. So we have thousands of these, literally thousands of these. They're not paper, they're not plastic, they're somewhere in the middle. They're pretty durable. One thing I would say is that when you write on them, you need to use sort of the fine tip Sharpie. Sharpies are about the only thing that are going to work on these. The other thing you can do is print a label. I know a lot of folks have label makers and they can just print their name on there. So what I need you to do is to let me know how many of these cards you would like for your program. Now, you can have as many or as few as you like. For instance, WKU has asked for 10. Cindy at Murray has asked for 211. So, there's a big discrepancy in how many you want, and we're happy to provide them to as many folks as possible for a couple of reasons. One, I know that it's often asked when you're talking to other programs, other trainings, other educational requirements, that you actually show some sort of membership card or certification from the association. The other thing is just sort of selfish on the association standpoint. We want as many people as possible to know that they're a member of this association. So if you're in the Head Start community in Kentucky, you're part of what we're doing. And as we go forward into 2021 with our new committee structure and other offerings, we want as many folks as possible to feel as if they're a part of the association. So shoot me an email, respond to the email we sent last week, and just let us know how many cards you'd like, and we will get those sent out to you. So having said that, that's all I have in terms of sort of our updates. Oh, the last thing, the annual conference. So we know that we're still planning our annual conference March 30th to April 1st at the Galt House in Louisville. Again, right now, our plan is that we're going to be moving forward with those dates in person, but we will be flexible as we have been. You'll begin to get information in the next week or two about the conference, but I know folks really won't start thinking about it until we come back from the new year. But I want to make sure that you've got as much as you can. We'll be starting to talk about the program, what folks want to see, how we want to see it, and more information will be coming your way. So next week during this time, we're going to have Ann Larson with Kentucky Skills U is going to be talking to us about some programs that they have for adults, efforts that they have underway to try to get more adults enrolled in adult education, whether it's GED or other sort of continuing education, and sort of how those things fit with Head Start and the work that you're doing with families and adults in terms of things that they're looking for. So she'll be with us next week to talk about Kentucky Skills U. I know they've got a lot of free offerings that are going on across the state. So having said that, that's all we've got. So I want to kick it to Christy as our president to just sort of begin our conversation about what's happening in your program, and if there's any challenges, questions, concerns, celebrations that you want to share about what's happening in your program during this difficult time. So Christy.
Thank you so much, John. I appreciate it. I just have a few little announcements for the good of the group that I think everybody will want to know. We had our Region 4 board meeting this past Friday, and Heather Wendarski, I'm sure I butchered her last name, so I apologize for that.
Pretty close.
But she gave the update that they were in interviews on Friday for the new regional program manager, and they planned on doing those for a couple more days. So just know that that process is in place right now. And she said that she'd keep us up to date as things move forward. Also, just a reminder that the Region 4 conference will be virtual. It'll be pre-conference is February 17th through 19th. And then the general conference is February 23rd through the 26th. So they've got those trainings up and you can register now online. So go check that out. For those of you that are our award winners, I know that that information is coming very soon. And we've got a lot to celebrate in Kentucky because from my understanding, we've got several that were nominated and, hopefully we'll have several that have won things as well. So kudos to all the people who have, celebrated their program and applied for, those awards. I think it's great to be recognized and especially recognize the great things going on in Kentucky. As far as any other updates, there weren't a lot of big things that were announced on the Region 4. It was this, more of the state updates. And Heather also just talked about just the political world and then the transition of the Biden-Harris and how they were having those meetings. She did say that she assumed that they would continue with having a continuing resolution as far as being able to pay out and staying on grant cycles as far as payments. She did not foresee a shutdown. And as of that meeting, there was nothing for Head Start programs and the new CARES Act funding that was coming out. But then by the end of the afternoon, it looked like Head Start had been included in that because I know we all worked hard to send up that information. I encourage you to continue to email the great things going on, why our Head Start programs need this next round of funding. Every time that we communicate the benefits of Head Start programs, how we're using that funding and why we need more is very important. So I can send you information, but also there's tons of information out there from NHSA as well. Any questions for me? All right, on to celebrations at Paducah. We've transitioned into our virtual world with everybody fairly well. I think we've shared that several times that we did provide all of our families with a tablet. Most of our families, we know 100% all have internet access in their homes, or they're able to go to a Wi-Fi place to connect. We did have some families we supported in partnering with Comcast to get them internet access moving forward. And today, our teachers and family advocates are planning to bring kids back starting in January in small targeted groups. That is part of the governor's Healthy at School document, that you can bring in groups of 5 children or less for 2 hours or less. So we are starting that in January, specifically targeting our children who are in RTI, response to intervention, and or our children with special needs, because we know that those face-to-face interactions are most important. After January, we look at bringing in another group of 5 students at a time. We'll start in February and bring in the next tier of students. So we've designed a system and a plan to support our students to get them face-to-face as much as possible while following the governor's directive of being healthy at school. We are quite confident in the way that we will support our staff and our children to have that face-to-face learning, because we know that's so important. We're continuing on with our Christmas celebrations. We might not be face-to-face, but we've had a lot of fun celebrating Christmas together as a staff. We had a, name that tune virtual PowerPoint the other day where we sang together and had fun. This coming week, we're going to, typically we have an ugly sweater Christmas party. We're going to have an ugly mask Christmas party. So we're going to see who can decorate the best mask to keep it healthy and safe, but also bringing in a little Christmas cheer as well. So think of those fun ways that we can still celebrate with our staff virtually. Connecting with our staff is just as important as connecting with our students and families. So I encourage you all to do that. We've continued with our parent cafes, and it's just a great way to connect with our families. So I hope that helps you a little bit, and I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year as well. John, I'll turn it back over to you.
Thanks,
I'd love to
Christy.
hear what everybody else is doing.
Absolutely. It might be fun. I know this happens if you're sitting around in circle time, but you get to call on somebody else to go next. So who might you call on to go next?
Let's see here. I see Rhonda's smiling face. I'll turn it over to Rhonda.
I knew you were going to pick me. Just like everybody else now, we're completely virtual, both Head Start and Early Head Start. All of our classrooms are blended in with the school district. So depending on the districts, we do have one district that is currently allowing the small groups to come in for those special services. So hopefully if we're not back in person after the first of the year, those other districts will start allowing that to happen as well. And like Christy, all of our students don't have the tablets, but the majority of them do. And then a lot of them have their own tablets. So we've uploaded Seesaw on those tablets for them. And teachers are putting that information out there for the families to work with the children, as well as we have just started last week, actually today, with the Zoom meetings. We hadn't been doing those because we had been in person, but since we've completely shut down now, that they are starting those Zoom meetings with the families. They do a group meeting every day, and then they also do individual as needed. And that's about it.
All right. Thanks, Rhonda. And who do you think should go next?
Oh, let me see who's
Always.
on here.
See, I like this new idea.
I think Carla needs to go next.
Of course, I'm assuming that people are actually at their computer. They may have just turned mute and video off and walked away.
Maybe.
Carla, are you there? We'll come back to Carla.
Okay, we'll go with Chris Holiday.
Chris.
Tammy's also on the call if she wants to jump in and add anything. But we have been virtual the entire time. And even since our counties have moved into the red, our staff are working from home right now. But we do daily group Zoom meetings with the children, and also videos are uploaded into Google Classrooms where they do more targeted lessons. They do their small groups just like they would have done in the normal classroom. They carry the curriculum over, and we've sent home the materials that the children would need to take part in those group activities. And the good thing about the Google Classroom, of course, is the parents can interact there and post pictures of what their children have done. I know we have one classroom in particular that I'm just thinking of off the top of my head that really has a lot of interaction. So we do get to see a lot of the finished products. And so that's what we've been doing. We have had some children come in for special services. Of course, since we went into the red, school districts aren't allowing that. But before we went into the red, the children with an IEP, the parents that would agree to, were coming into the center to receive those services. So we've been trying to make the best we can out of this virtual environment. And just like everybody else, of course, we'll reassess at the first of the year to see if we want to do anything differently.
All right, Chris, who should go next?
I will. I'm sorry, I stepped away from
There's Carla.
for just a second. Sorry about that. Okay, so what's happening in our program? Basically, since the week of Thanksgiving, we have been going. We're totally virtual now, and the teachers are doing such a good job. They really enjoyed the presentation from Jennifer Reed, so they're implementing some additional steps. But they have always been doing the small group online, some of the same things that Chris Holiday mentioned, but just trying to do better. And I also want to share that I made the implicit bias training mandatory, and I asked for everyone to comment. So I've received over 70 comments about the video, and they have all received it the implicit bias training very well, and just the insights that people have from that training. So thank you, KHSA, for sponsoring that. And they want her to do another presentation with our staff, so I'll be reaching out to Miss Jennifer. But we're surviving. I do have a staff member that will retire after 40 years.
Wow.
So we're going to have a big celebration for her next week, Google Meet, and recognize her for her years of service with Head Start. So that's about all that we're doing.
That's wonderful. Carla, we're actually going to have a more advanced implicit bias training done by LaManda. I think we're going to get that recorded probably just after the new year, and we'll make that available to everyone. It'll be something similar, but it'll have more materials and more information that you could actually use as a real training with your staffs. So yes, Carla, who do you think should go next?
Thank you.
Who do you think should go next, Carla?
Who do I think should go next?
Yeah.
Miss Cindy Graves.
All right, Cindy.
Let me get unmuted here. Yeah, we've got the same kind of virtual stuff going on, adjusting daily, weekly, ongoing. We've put a lot of effort recently into figuring out how to do early Head Start socializations over Zoom, and that's been challenging, but it's been very well received by the families, and the staff are having fun putting those together as well. We're just like Carla. We've got our main fiscal person is retiring this month after 30 years. And so we're in the throes of training her replacement before she's gone and can't speak to us for 3 months. Just wishing Tammy well and celebrating her. She's been a key part of our program for a very long time. So just all the adjustments, we've got a mixture, like Chris was saying, some districts and Rhonda too, some districts are doing a little bit of had been doing a little bit of the small targeted group. And we still had 2 early Head Start sites open as licensed childcare, but both of those are connected to university sites. And so they're going virtual in the next few days now that the universities are shut down for break. So it's a different world.
All right, Cindy, who should go next?
Martina, are you there?
I am. All right, so we are also 100% virtual right now with Head Start and Early Head Start, and have been since the beginning of November. So our plan is to not return to in-person classes until at least January, but of course we will have to look at the numbers of COVID cases within our communities at that point. So we're going to be looking at that toward the end of December. Also, all of our staff are working from home right now due to the high number of cases as well. I'm, for one, recovering from COVID. I've been down for about 3 weeks now. So it's been very difficult, needless to say. So I apologize, no makeup, anything this morning. I didn't realize I was going to have to open my camera up, but I'm doing very well. So that's kind of what's been going on with Gateway. I also have my health manager is retiring at the end of this month after about 30 years of service. So we're going to be holding a Google Meet for her as well. And then I also have a manager that is looking at retirement toward the end of May. So trying to, just look at succession planning and so forth moving forward for those purposes. And I will turn it over to, let's see, Kim. I don't think Kim's went yet.
All right, thank you. Good morning. We are about the same. We are all virtual, early Head Start. Staff are all working home, NTI in full force as of today. We have several of our family advocates meeting teachers, meeting families to give out food at the districts for about an hour and a half. If they need diapers, we're trying to take those to the home and leave on the front porch. Trying to get very creative with keeping their interest in lesson planning and those kind of things. We finally got licensed at Newburgh. That is a huge celebration for us. It was the best Thanksgiving present I've ever gotten, I think. So once COVID lets up some and we are able, we will be opening Newburgh. We have many applications. Open Fairdale and the Village opens soon after the new year. And we are moving forward. The OVEC office is closed right now. All staff are working from home. Dr. Meehan did that effective Wednesday morning at 9 a.m. So we are all working from home and about the same as everybody else, just trying to survive at this point, I think. And hopefully the new year brings some normalcy to the world. And I will pick Leah to go next.
Hello. I feel like probably in Carroll County, we are the one county, it sounds like, that we are actually in-person services. We have 0 cases of COVID in our students. And since we started October 12th, we've had 4 staff that have had it. I actually was working from home the last 2 weeks in November. My husband and my daughter both tested positive for COVID. And somehow me and my 6-year-old, I don't know how it happened, but we got lucky. So, but we're back and it's going well. Those families that chose to go virtual, they all have an iPad and they use ABC Mouse and Learning Genie. Have you all heard of Learning Genie? Do anybody use it? Yes. Well, if you do not, I would highly suggest looking it up. It has just been a lifesaver on in-kind for us, especially now that we're in the COVID world. And my staff is absolutely loving it. So I'm so glad that we kind of took, the initiative and went that route. But other than that, we're doing well. So hopefully we continue to stay the course and not have any negative or positive cases in these next 2 weeks before Christmas break. I have to pick somebody. Renee, have you gone?
I have not. So at LKLP, just like Tammy at Middle Kentucky, we have been virtual all the time. Our staff has been working from home all the time as well. We've pretty much been doing like everybody else, except we've been using the Hatch Ignite and Ready Rosie. And thank you, Lee, for sharing that Learning Genie. We'll definitely get our staff to check that out. But we are trying to plan right now some celebrations for our staff for Christmas. We usually do big get-togethers and serve them, breakfast or something like that. But we're going to try to do some kind of virtual Zoom games with them and try to get some training going for them during that time, just some things that will help them to relax and enjoy some kind of mental health activities. But like Kim said, we are doing deliveries with diapers and wipes and formula and things like that, leaving it on the porch, pretty much what everybody else is doing. So that's what we're doing at LKLP right now. And I will pick Valerie Hayes.
For some reason, Renee, I knew you were going to do that. How is everybody? At Brett Grayson, we are continuing to do the same thing. We got a good 3 weeks in October for services, and then we had positive COVID cases that resulted in several staff quarantines and child quarantines. So we decided maybe we just better resume virtual services. So that's what we're doing right now. The staff are coming in the center on a rotating basis once a week to gather supplies and materials. And then they are coming in one day to make deliveries of snacks and diapers and other things that families might need for their home activities. The rest of the time they are working at home. And we have a TSG training for them the week of the 14th that we've scheduled. We did buy that TSG platform for the family interaction. I can tell you a whole lot about that. Gail's got all that down pat, but that is working and families are participating with that. So we're pretty pleased with that. That's just about all that we're doing as well. Just trying to maintain enrollment and keep families engaged and involved. So.
Let's see, Valeria, is there somebody you'd like to call on?
I'm just looking here, John.
Let's see, we got a few folks that haven't gone. Got Jeff and Shonda and Lori.
I'll pick Jeff.
Hi. We are also.
You win the background. You win.
Not really.
That's perfect.
We actually had a managers meeting last week in which we were assigned a theme for our background. So this is left over from that. And we played Pictionary off the whiteboard off of Zoom. It was actually pretty cool. Not as good as in person, but we had a really good time. So that's one of the things we've done. We are, for the most part, in person with our standalone centers. Now, the school systems are shut down, but 2 of our school systems even are continuing with preschool services because the governor just shut down K through 12. So I have 2 of my blended sites in that are in person, and we have the occasional outbreak somewhere. We'll shut down a center for a couple of weeks, but at present time, all of my standalone centers are in person. And surprisingly, with as bad as it is, we're managing pretty well. And just like everyone else, just trying to make a daily judgment on calls and things as it comes up. Pretty much what we're up to.
Okay, I'm going to pick somebody for Jeff. I'm going to go with Shonda.
Hello. Well, we've just been, struggle. All of our centers are, of course, virtual now, and we've just really been struggling with getting that participation. And so we've changed a couple of our dynamics. We've added some incentives for families for, the one that logs on every day during the week. We give out incentives that we've got donated from several organizations in the area has asked to help. And, we're just using those things with family dinners, and some of our churches has sponsored some of the families to be able to provide a meal for them. And, we're just going one day at a time like everybody else.
Mm-hmm. We've just got a few folks left that we haven't heard from. Carla Malone.
I was trying to not make eye contact. We're part of a school district. So we managed to get 2 weeks in October before we had to go back to virtual. But we do targeted services for our children with IEPs, and so they come in and receive their services and spend 30 minutes to an hour with the teachers. Teachers have decided to do small groups. So those kids that are struggling or they're not getting a lot of participation from the families, they're bringing those kids in and doing groups of 2 to 3 kids for an hour, 2 hours weekly. We use Seesaw and ABC Mouse. We are one-to-one with Chromebooks for the our students. The teachers have also, because the virtually trying to work with 3 and 4-year-olds, I mean, that's not the best method, of course, so they come in and they do hands-on activities, different types of things, and they send materials home. And so they're coming in and doing those types of things and activities. The parents come, they have totes outside, and the parents come and pick them up. And if the parents can't, or they're doing porch drops and those kinds of things. So, or we mail them out to the families that can't. Our family advocates, or they're keeping in contact with the families and making sure they don't have any needs. Our district provides meals, that they're delivering meals for the families who choose to sign up for that. So, we're like everybody else, plugging along and hoping for some normalcy. You want to pick for me?
I will.
Thank you.
Lori Woolsing.
Good afternoon, everyone. I think James and Tara and Sarah were all from NKCAC, so I'll share a little bit, and if they have anything else, they can feel free to add. But we're also virtual with teachers and family advocates doing education packs, food, diapers, wipes, any type of need. They're taking that to the house, and actually all of our staff are working on site. They do have one day that they're off site for training and paperwork. And then the other big thing that we have going on, we applied for some disaster relief funding to upgrade 5 of our centers. So working on putting together all the 1303s to and building assessments to do a lot of work on our buildings coming up starting January. James or Tara, anything to add? No? Okay.
All right. Tammy Caudal, I know that we heard from Chris, and I'm not sure if you were on the line at the time, but I didn't know if there was anything else that you wanted to share.
Not really, John, not at this time. Chris did a really good job of just giving a synopsis of what we've been doing in the last little bit. And we are hoping that we will be able to bring our kids back in January, you know, just like everyone else said. We're just waiting to see the, you know, the number of cases at that time and how everything is looking. Hopefully there's a vaccine and we're on some sort of road to normalcy. I really enjoyed hearing the ideas about the Christmas activities that you're doing with staff, because, you know, right now is our budget is due in December. So my time and part of Chris's has been totally dominated by trying to get that complete. But that is something that we want to do. We want to do some kind of activities with our staff for Christmas. And I really appreciate those that responded and talked about what they're doing, because, you know, it's something that we can put in place before we actually go out on Christmas break. So I know we'll have another meeting next week, but I just wanted to tell everybody that, you know, wish them all a very Merry Christmas and happy holidays to all. And I hope that we get some time to just kind of sit back and collect and reflect on this past year. And, you know, I've really learned a lot about how adaptable our staff are during this time. And I have to say that, you know, I'm very pleased with every single one of them and how they've been trying their hardest to make this work effectively for the children.
Thank you so much. All right, gang, I think we have gone through our attendance today. Is there anyone who hasn't had a chance to share that would like to? Or is there anybody that heard something that they'd like to ask a question about?
John, I got on kind of late, so I just wanted to add, we went through and we got some of these, they're kind of like the lottery tickets, and they say like, thanks, you are a star employee, or caught being a team player, you're a winner. So they get to scratch these off, and then if they match 3 items, then they get something out of the prize box, which could be a tumbler or a bag or something like that. And that's just something we done kind of to help our staff, you know, because they are getting kind of drugged down. They're missing their kids, and, you know, just something to boost their attitudes and get them back in, you know, involved and more positive, upbeat.
Yeah, great idea. Thanks for sharing that. All right, folks, I will let you know that just as we have every week, this session has been recorded. So if you missed something, or if you heard something and you didn't quite remember what it was, you'll have a chance to go back. These will be posted on YouTube later today, and I'll send out a link to everyone so that you'll be able to take a look and a listen. So with that, just one more chance. If anybody has any questions or comments, want to open up the floor. Okay, I'm not hearing any. I want to thank everybody. I will remind you, let us know how many of the membership cards you would like for your program. We will get those mailed out to you. Other than that, I would encourage folks to go and take a look at the job board. If you've got some new positions, either folks that are retiring, new positions you've created, things you're looking to fill, please go ahead and input your information there, and we'll make sure it is shared far and wide. So with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I thought it was a great conversation. I thought this was really a good way to go about it, because I know that everyone has learned a couple of things from their colleagues all across the state that they can take back to their programs and use. So with that, we will adjourn, and we will look forward to seeing you next Monday. Thanks, everybody. Have a great week.